Hey there, happiness seekers. Welcome to Elevate Daily, where we seek to give advice that can make your lives brighter and more fulfilling. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a day where 10 good things happened, but the only thing you could think about was the one bad thing? Maybe someone complimented your work. You had a good meal. You laughed with a friend. You finally finished something you'd been putting off. But then, one person made a rude comment, one plan fell through, or you made one small mistake, and suddenly that single negative moment became the only thing your mind wanted to replay. Why does that happen? Why can one criticism outweigh 10 compliments? Why can one embarrassing memory stay with us for years, while dozens of happy moments seem to disappear? Today, we're going to explore why your brain naturally gives more attention to negative experiences, why that tendency once helped humans survive, and how you can gently train your mind to notice more of the good without pretending that life is always positive. And before we dive in, if you enjoy thoughtful conversations about psychology, happiness, and understanding how your mind works, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Elevate Daily. Now, let's explore this together. Let's begin with something important. Your brain's number one priority isn't necessarily to make you happy. It's to keep you safe. And once you understand that, a lot of strange things about the human mind begin to make sense. Thousands of years ago, paying attention to potential danger was incredibly important. Imagine two early humans walking through a forest. One notices the beautiful sunset. The other notices movement in the bushes that might be a predator. Which piece of information is more urgent? The possible danger. Over thousands of generations, human brains became extremely good at noticing problems, threats, and anything that might put us at risk. Psychologists call this the negativity bias. It's our tendency to notice and react more strongly to negative experiences than positive ones. And although most of us aren't constantly watching for predators anymore, our brains still use many of the same survival systems. Only now the threats look different. Criticism, failure, rejection, embarrassment, uncertainty. The environment changed much faster than the brain did, and that's why one negative comment can sometimes feel louder than 10 positive ones. Your brain sees the negative information and thinks, "Pay attention, this might matter." Now think about your own memories. You might still remember something embarrassing you did years ago. Maybe you said the wrong thing, made a mistake in front of other people, or experienced rejection. And somehow your brain stored that moment in remarkable detail. Meanwhile, hundreds of ordinary good days have blended together. That's partly because negative experiences often feel more important to the brain. It wants to learn from them. It asks, "What happened? How do I stop that from happening again?" This can be useful. If you make a genuine mistake, reflecting on it can help you grow. But the problem begins when reflection turns into rumination. That's when you stop learning from a thought and start living inside it. You replay the same conversation. You imagine what you should have said. You revisit an old mistake. You worry about something that hasn't even happened yet. The brain believes that if it keeps thinking, it will eventually find certainty. But often it doesn't. It simply becomes exhausted. And this is especially common in social situations. Human beings evolved in groups. For much of human history, belonging wasn't just emotionally comforting. It was important for survival. So our brains became highly sensitive to rejection and social signals. That's why something as simple as an unanswered message can sometimes trigger an entire story in your mind. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Do they not like me anymore? Meanwhile, the other person might simply be busy. But your brain doesn't always wait for all the evidence. It fills in the gaps, usually with the explanation that seems most threatening. It's trying to protect you. But sometimes protection becomes overthinking. Now let's bring this into the modern world. Because modern life has found countless ways to capture our natural attraction to negative information. Think about the news. Conflict, crisis, outrage, disaster. Negative information grabs attention. And online, attention is valuable. Social media can amplify this even further. One moment, you're watching something funny. The next, you're reading an argument. Then a frightening headline. Then a comment section full of anger. Then someone telling you that you're falling behind in life. Your brain absorbs all of it. And because negative information naturally feels urgent, it can begin to dominate your perception of reality. This doesn't mean you should ignore real problems. It simply means remembering that what captures your attention isn't always an accurate representation of your entire life. A difficult moment is real, but so is the peaceful morning you barely noticed. The criticism matters, but so do the compliments you immediately dismissed. The problem isn't that good things aren't happening. Sometimes we're simply not giving them enough attention to leave a lasting impression. And this brings us to the good news. Your brain is adaptable. Through neuroplasticity, repeated patterns of attention can influence how your brain responds over time. No, this doesn't mean you can simply think positive and magically eliminate every difficult emotion, and you shouldn't try to. Sadness has a purpose. Fear has a purpose. Anger has a purpose. The goal isn't to become positive all the time. The goal is balance. It's learning to notice when your brain is treating one negative moment as though it represents your entire life. So how can you begin doing that? First, notice good moments on purpose. Because positive experiences often don't demand attention, you may need to consciously give them some. When something good happens, pause for a moment, actually experience it. Maybe someone says something kind to you. Instead of immediately dismissing the compliment, let yourself accept it. Maybe you're having a peaceful morning. Notice it. Maybe you're laughing with someone you care about. Be there. The moment doesn't have to be extraordinary. Happiness is often built from ordinary experiences that we actually allow ourselves to feel. Second, learn to question your thoughts. Not every thought is a fact. Your brain can say, "Everyone thinks I'm a failure." But is that actually true? It can say, "I always mess everything up." Always? Really? When you slow down and examine negative thoughts, you'll often discover exaggerations. Words like always, never, everyone, nothing. These are clues that emotion may be speaking louder than evidence. Third, be careful about what you repeatedly feed your mind. You don't need to avoid every difficult story or uncomfortable truth, but you also don't need to spend hours consuming content that leaves you anxious, angry, or hopeless. Your mental diet matters. If certain accounts constantly make you feel inadequate, consider stepping away. If doom scrolling leaves you exhausted, create some distance. Protecting your attention isn't ignorance, it's awareness. Fourth, practice gratitude in a way that feels genuine. You don't need to write down 20 things every morning. You don't need to pretend that a difficult day was wonderful. Simply ask, what went right today? Maybe someone made you laugh. Maybe you completed something difficult. Maybe your coffee tasted especially good. Maybe you had 10 quiet minutes to yourself. Small things still count. In fact, life is mostly made of small things. And finally, pay attention to how you speak to yourself. Many of us would never speak to another person the way we speak to ourselves. A friend makes a mistake, and we say, "It's okay, everyone gets things wrong." We make the same mistake, and suddenly it's, "I'm so stupid. Why am I like this? I ruin everything." That inner voice matters. You don't have to lie to yourself. You don't have to pretend every mistake is fine. But you can be honest without being cruel. You can say, "I made a mistake," without turning it into, "I am a mistake." That's a powerful difference. Before we finish, I want you to imagine your attention like a spotlight. Whatever you point it toward becomes easier to see. If you constantly point it toward everything going wrong, the world will naturally begin to feel darker. That doesn't mean the darkness isn't real. It means it's not the whole picture. There is also kindness, progress, laughter, connection, quiet moments, small victories. And sometimes the mind needs a little help remembering to look in their direction too. If this video resonated with you and helped you understand your own mind a little better, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Elevate Daily. Every week, we explore the psychology behind happiness and living a more intentional life. And we'd love to have you with us. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Do you ever catch yourself focusing on one negative moment while overlooking everything that went right? And what's one positive thing that happened to you today? Share it in the comments below. Your answer might brighten someone else's day, and it might help your own brain notice the good a little more often. Until next time, be patient with your mind. Protect what you give your attention to. And remember, your brain may naturally notice what's wrong, but with a little practice, you can teach yourself to notice what's right too. I'll see you in the next one.